So this is November 684 Roger Victor. This one is a special RV12. This has an original RV12 serial number, 120 serial number, but they've highly customized this one. So let's take a look here. Let's start on the pilot side. We have these newer inserts from Vans. They sell these in white or black, these inserts for the step. They have this nice looking anti-skid on the pilot, and I assume the passenger side as well. The problem with the original RV12s is that these rivets here were not flush rivets. So if you just put a whole pad down on top of this, you're going to have bumps in your anti-skid pad. They've added a custom pitot tube in the front here. Paint job looks like it's sort of a baby blue and a silver and a darker red color. Very nice. Pulsar Aero LED lights. Let's take a look at here. Yep, they have that 1/8 inch gap there. Very nice. Now also too, if you look at the heads of these rivets, these look like they are the standard pop rivets, but they filled in the heads before painting. So it gives the appearance of a rounded head rivet finish. Very nice. Take a look at the tail here. You can see here the extra cut to the tail fairing. That means that this was required when you do the addition of this plate right here to reinforce the spar box on the back here. Very nice. Let's take a look at these wheel pants. Very nice. Now let's take a look at the cowl, because this is not standard RV12 cowl, and probably not the engine either. We have this custom piece here, the door for the, I assume that would be the oil dipstick. We have an air inlet here, presumably for cooling, probably cabin cooling. We have a non-standard propeller. We have a smaller inlet for the radiator. The exhaust tube is here on the left side. The air intake for the engine is over here on the left side as well. And I almost wonder if the factory saw this plane and was like, you know, this is a good example of where we can put our air intakes and everything. Very nice. Now there is a tag over here that you took off. Let's see if this has a standard engine. It's a light sport, 1320 pounds. He's put down 150 knots cruise, 50 knot stall. Very nice. This is not an RV12. This is a RV10 4-seat. And I'm showing this to you because of the wonderful art on the wings and fuselage, and there's even a special signature on this wing. If we come back here, we'll see Dick's signature himself was here. He showed up yesterday, I believe, to sign off on the plane. If you have kids, this is a really cool way to get them involved, at least after the fact, after the plane is done. I assume this plane will be off to paint at some point. Now the question is whether or not you keep Dick's signature on the wing. Very nice. Looks like a great RV10. Number 351 Delta Hotel. This is a original RV12. If you look at the cowl, you might be fooled. He's added this air inlet after the fact to keep his voltage regulator cool. Let's take a walk around. The color is like a dark maroon red metallic paint. It has the original standard brakes and wheels. Pulsar LEDs on the wingtips. This plane, I believe, was completed recently. It says November of 2012. Okay, it's been 8 years now, or 9 years. Paint looks like it's in great shape. He's got the wedge here for the rudder trim. Color is great. I'm sure this plane is hangared. It's very nice, and he's also got these plastic inserts here for the step. That's good. And he's also got the pitot tube cover. And he did say that he was having a problem with paint chipping off inside here. I guess when it got sent out to paint, they didn't clean that good enough. Very good. And it looks like he also has wheel fairings that he left home. I see the mount brackets for the wheel fairings. Very nice RV-12 build. This is November 913 Bravo Charlie. This is my buddy Brent's plane from back from New Jersey. And this is probably the airplane with the most unique and, in my opinion, the best design as far as paint design for the RV-12. Take a closer look here. This is a original RV-12. Looks like standard blades. Has the blue colored anti-skid on the step. It's nice, and also on the wing here as well. Really dark blue. Now here's a good example of how to trim your stall warning vane, just enough to take the little sharp edges off. So that's not in the instructions as far as I know, but that's always a really good thing to do. Pulsar aero LEDs on the wingtips. Take a look around the tail. This is a combination of the Canadian maple leaf and the American flag. Now apparently he did a good job at retrimming this here to accommodate this extra plate that was added. A little bit of scraping here on the push rod. Doesn't look like it's rubbing off any paint on the right there of the fairing. Something just to be mindful of when you trim your fairing. Seal on the wing root. That's always good to add after you've painted it. If you add it before, the paint shop will just have to remove that and re-add that after paint. I haven't noticed any whistling or anything like that because of that gap. Take a look at the wheel fairings. Very nice. And he's done a good job retrimming this here to access that screw. Brent, if you're watching this, very nice. Here's a special RV-12, November 221 Whiskey Delta. This is a 120 serial number, so that's a original RV-12. And you see the cowl looks like original RV-12. It has the newer three-bladed prop, which is an option from Vans. The cowl looks like it was finished pretty well. Now here's where it gets interesting. Take a look at these wings. We got flush rivets on the wings. Looks like he has dimpled every single hole and used a CS 4-4 rivet instead of the LP 4-3. He's also added a pitot tube to the left wing and also moved the temperature probe out to the left wing as well. He's also added an access panel behind the wing light here, which if you ever have to get into behind that light, that's what you need. Now things get even more interesting here. He's got essentially tip tanks. This is 10 gallons in the tip over here on the left and another 10 on the right side. I am going to have to inquire as to what the gallons per hour and cruise speed are with these flush rivets. I think that they would make a difference with all of those. Everything from the tail kit on back looks like it's standard. Yeah, that's standard. Nope, not standard. He's got flush rivets here as well on the tail and the rotor and the horizontal stabilator. It seems like the only place he's used LP 4-3s is right in this channel right here, which isn't in the Airstream. Well, if you know that you're not going to be building ELSA, and maybe you do want to do flush rivets, it looks like he used the LP 4-3s back here on the tail cone. Looks like the standard tires. Another 10 gallons in the tip tank here. I would love to know if he has another tank behind the pilot seat. I'll have to track him down and ask. It's November 221 Whiskey Delta. It is November 713. This is my own plane. So let's take a look. RV-12's standard two-bladed prop. This is what happens when you don't add any inserts to this tube here. It starts to rust. This is made of steel. The wheel fairings I've left at home. I still need to trim my vane. The wings are standard build wings, dual landing lights. This is the newer wingtip LED. I've also epoxied the wingtip here. This was made with epoxy and cotton flocks. Now there is some question as to which rib goes here on the end. I've both seen this rib with the lightning hole inside on it, and also I've seen a solid rib without it. So check your manual on that. It may have changed over the years. And we have the 1/8 inch gap there. There's no wing root seal yet. This plane will be going out to paint probably over the winter. I did climb only the interior surfaces and the surfaces that overlap. So that's why you see a little bit of primer kind of leaking out here. So I probably could have done a better job with this gap between the two halves of the fairing back here. I could probably touch that up with more epoxy. Again, these are not sanded yet. I'll probably do that before it gets sent out for paint. Again, I've epoxied this area here. Now, this was done after the fact. It turned out that I put the canopy on, and when the DAR came, I had to remove this panel for him to take a look behind the instruments. And then I realized I had no access to this screw, so I quickly just cut this little piece out of the arm here. And again, before this gets sent out to paint, I'll make this nice and smooth and make that look not like a hack job. Big problem here is that the builder, me, accidentally cut the wrong hole in the cowl. I had to put some fiberglass on that. The correct hole for the IS engine is over here, which is for the regulator B voltage regulator. And there is, I believe it's on the co-pilot side, there is some oil canning. You can see right just forward of that number 3. If I move around left to right, you can probably see it. That I'll fix probably with just a stiffener behind that skin. The other issue that I have here is that the cowl isn't put on really symmetrical. You can see the spinner is sticking out from the cowl just a little bit on this side. And then if we move over to the pilot side here, you see that it's nice and flush, this right here. So the cutouts here for these vent holes seem to be pretty nice and wide compared to other airplanes I've seen today. So a little bit more work and it should be ready for the paint shop.